no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.
Disclaimer: this broadcast is intended for commentary, discussion, and entertainment purposes only. All topics and statements are based on publicly available information, including news reports, social media content, and third-party sources, which may include allegations or unverified claims. The views expressed are opinions and should not be interpreted as confirmed facts. This content is not intended to harm, defame, misrepresent any individual, organization, or entity. Viewer discretion is advised. What's good? What's good? What's good? YouTube family, welcome back to the Weekly Rain Report, where I take stories, make a noise across the country, and bring them back home with real stories, real perspective, and real impact. I see Sco already been in here earlier. I appreciate you, Sco, for being in here. I am your girl, Soft Rain, and I got a ton of stuff for us to talk about tonight. I am going to start with a major setback in the private space industry, where a Blue Origin Glen rocket exploded during pre-launch testing at Cape Canaveral, and now they're saying that this may not be a quick reset. You know, Blue Origin could be facing months of the delays after the explosion damaged the launch pad. And then on Radar Under Investigation, we're looking at the heartbreaking case of a 7-year-old Jor'Dynn Duncan out of New York, where 3 women have been accused in a case that has raised serious questions about child protection, you know, school absences, custody, and whether the warning signs were missed. For reality check, we're gonna go out to Longview, Washington, where a chemical tank disaster and a paper mill has now claimed the 11 lives after all 9 missing workers had been recovered. Then for Hometown Rain, I have a major update in a case that I brought y'all a couple of weeks ago about Markavious Rump out of Eufaula, Alabama. His remains have now been positively identified, and a 19-year-old Eufaula man has been arrested and charged with connection. Also, I'm going to keep it here in my hometown, and they are talking. We have talked so much about these teen takeovers. So the city of Columbus is talking about Uptown. Well, Uptown is a part of Columbus. It's like our downtown area. For other cities probably call it downtown, but we call it Uptown. And they're talking about doing a curfew for unsupervised minors. So that curfew has not been fully approved yet, but leaders are still discussing it. And on Wellness Watch, I'm going to touch on the Ebola outbreak and the response from the U.S. and also the proposed Kenya quarantine facility. So, and we're going to do the latest update on that. And for Soul Reset, of course, you know, I like to bring it back home with Soul Reset, where we are spotlighting. I'm going to spotlight an organization called Team Impact that I didn't even know existed, but now I know. It matches children facing serious illness or disability with college athletic teams. And sometimes, you know, healing is just not medicine. Healing is being included. So make sure y'all go ahead, like this video, subscribe to my channel, drop umbrellas or raindrops in the comments, and let me know where you're watching from. And as always, let's talk about it. So my lead story tonight is going to be about in Florida, about the Blue Origin Glen rocket explosion. It suffered a major setback after its new Glen rocket exploded during a pre-launch engine test at Cape Canaveral Space Station. And for anybody who may not follow space news closely, Blue Origin is Jeff Bezos' space company. The New Glenn rocket is one of their major heavy lift rockets designed to carry satellites and large payloads out into orbit. This rocket matters because the Blue Origin is not just doing private space exploration or private space experiments anymore. They're connected to satellite projects, commercial space contracts, government missions, and future NASA-related work. So when a rocket like this explodes on the launch pad, it becomes more than just a viral video. It becomes a bigger conversation about, safety, competition, money, deadlines, and the future of private space travel. So, according to reports, though, the explosion happened during what is called a static fire test. So the rocket really wasn't launching off. It was still secured to the launch pad, but the engines were being fired to test the system before the actual launch. So this wasn't supposed to be a liftoff. It was supposed to be a controlled test. But instead, that video showed a massive fireball lighting up the launch site. And I got the video for y'all. I'm gonna pull the video up. I see y'all in here watching. Make sure y'all drop some emojis in the comments so I can address y'all while y'all in here. I see the numbers going up. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you share it. Subscribe to my channel. I come here every Sunday night to give y'all the week's I feel the most important stories that happen during the week across the world and across the nation. So I'm gonna pull this up so we can watch this explosion. Let's see. Yeah.
Take a look at your screen right now. This is the New Glenn rocket. It exploded during a hot fire test as refueling was happening ahead of a scheduled launch for tomorrow.
This was a massive explosion. As you can see, a big fireball just shot up into the sky. People heard it near and far. We were getting phone calls. They were reporting explosions. People thought they were fireworks. People said they didn't even know what was going on. We were concerned that maybe weather had something to do with this. That is not the case. Blue Origin tweeted earlier tonight, this was an anomaly. This had nothing to do with any lightning. This is an anomaly. They have some work to do to figure out exactly what went wrong in this test today.
Jeff Bezos also tweeting out this statement saying all personnel are accounted for and safe. It is too early to know the root cause, but we are already working to find it. Very rough day, but we'll rebuild. Whatever needs rebuilding and get back to flying, it's worth it.
And we showed you the video of when the explosion happened. Stuart, people were sending us video from their cell phones. They went to their window, they ran outside, and wherever they were, they stopped what they were doing just to take video of what they were seeing.
This happened around 9 o'clock tonight, so a lot of people were out doing that final walk of the evening, and they started calling our newsroom immediately because they didn't think that there was a planned launch for tonight. There was no planned launch for the night. This is one of those videos that we got from viewers. As you can see how bright it is outside, almost as if the sun is coming up right across the river to the launch pad. Again, no injuries reported because no one was actually over there during this refueling hot fire, but this is going to have implications going forward with NASA, Artemis program, and Blue Origin as a whole.
And we do want to get out live to our crew that's on the ground right now. Patrick Perez is live there on the scene. Patrick, what can you tell us and what are you seeing from where you are?
Well, Michelle, right now we're about 2 minutes away from the Blue Origin facility. We're still trying to get closer to where all of this happened, but wanted to pull over to kind of give you an idea as to what we're hearing from these viewers of ours. We've been hearing from people from Volusia County, obviously in Brevard County, people in Volusia County, in Port Orange, for example, saying that they felt this boom. They looked up into the sky. It almost looked like the sun was still setting at 9 p.m. I spoke with a man named George Clippert. He was actually at the Cape Canaveral Hospital with his daughter. They were standing on the helipad. He was trying to show her where exactly he lives in this area and the view from there. When they saw this explosion out in the distance, we've been playing that video for you all night long. He could not believe what he saw. At one moment, he told me over Zoom that he thought we were getting attacked just because of what he had just witnessed.
I've never felt so weird in my life. I thought we were under attack, to be honest with you. It didn't really hit me that it was a rocket until I got in my car and started heading back home, and I watched the orange glow in the sky just kept going over the other way.
People saw this sort of happen. Again, they were driving around. Maybe they were in Volusia County, like I mentioned. They look up in the sky. Suddenly, the sky is orange, even though it's 9 p.m. And then, of course, some felt this boom. I even think I saw a comment, and I think Lindsay mentioned this as well, that someone's Ring doorbell camera, because of the boom, also was activated because of all of this. So no doubt, a lot of people shaken to their core tonight, but especially those who were.
Yeah, y'all. So the newest update is that Reuters is reporting that the Blue Origin could be facing significant delays. Let me remove that from the screen. Significant delays. But they're saying that it could be about 6 months before that they can start rebuilding it and get going again. Now, this is not the official timeline for Blue Origin, but it does tell us that situation may be bigger than just like clearing up and trying again next week. There was, let me see if I can find the video that shows like the aerial damage. Hold on, y'all. There was one that I wanted to show y'all. don't have it, but let me see if I can show y'all this one because I want y'all to see what it actually looked like when it happened. I thought it was
an industry level. Huge concern for people on the ground, the workforce that's there. Clearly, Kennedy is a very industrial site and knows and understands these things and takes all the precautions, but that's the first critical. I could see, from the story emerging that all personnel have been accounted for. Now it's really just about assessing, I heard mentioned in the last comments, about people in the area, what kind of vapors could have been put out, how far they're going to travel, prevailing winds, and that sort of thing for the community.
Dr.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt. So thankfully, nobody was hurt in that explosion. So I'm gonna move on to my next segment, y'all. And let's see where I'm at. I got a lot going on, y'all. Let's see. Oh, this is my radar investigates. Yeah. So moving on to my next segment, y'all. So for my next segment, radar under investigation, I'm looking at the heartbreaking death of a 7-year-old Jor'Dynn Duncan out of Bayport, New York. According to prosecutors, Jor'Dynn died after what they describe as a prolonged abuse that she was living with a woman who was connected to her father. 3 women, though, have been charged with the connection of this case. The main caretaker, Emily Kelly, her mother, Barbara Renner, and her Kelly's daughter, Elissa Seymour. All 3 have pled not guilty. So let me be careful about how all of these are allegations. Okay, the case still has to move through the court system, but what prosecutors have described is deeply disturbing, and it's tough because these children, they didn't ask to be here. They don't deserve this at all. They don't deserve being treated like this. Investigators say that Jor'Dynn was placed in Kelly's care by Child Protective Services in December of 24, and Kelly later gained full custody and guardianship in April of 25. So they say that Jor'Dynn was taken to the hospital unconscious on December the 29th of 25, where she was pronounced dead. An autopsy determined that she died from a massive untreated infection caused by sharp force injuries, and a medical examiner documented approximately 90 injuries on her body. So I'm not saying that to be graphic, but I'm saying that because this case is forcing people to ask, a painful question, like how did a child get to that point without the system stopping it sooner? According to prosecutors, Jor'Dynn missed about 40 days of school between January and June of 2025. They say excuses were allegedly given to cover those absences, though. And that's where the bigger question comes in, because often after when a child passes away, people ask, how did nobody know? How did nobody see? How did this go on for so long? The truth is, some people, they may have seen pieces of it. Somebody saw the school absences. Somebody saw the child being isolated. Somebody saw change. They may have felt like something was off, but the system did not connect those dots in time. And that's what makes this case hard, because a child should not be able to disappear from school that long without any kind of alarm going off. A child should not become unreachable without somebody asking like deeper questions. I know a lot of times we think that oh, that's their business, we should stay out of it. But it gets tough when we see something. I think we should say something, especially when it comes to children. So in this case, the prosecutors say that they have recovered photos, videos, and text messages that they believe documented this abuse that was going on. And again, I'm not going to repeat like the most graphic details because there's no need to exploit the child's suffering. But when adults who are supposed to protect the child are accused of harming that child, that's pure evil, So let me, I'm going to pull up the news segment for this so we can watch it and then we'll move forward because it's heavy. It's heavy. Let me play this. There we go.
Today surrounding the shocking torture death of a Long Island child.
3 women were arrested this week, charged with sadistic abuse that led to the 7-year-old's death. Jor'Dynn Duncan had been placed in their home by a court. And today, Carolyn Gussoff asked Suffolk County lawmakers how that could have happened.
It's a picture-perfect suburban Cape, but prosecutors describe a house of horrors inside where they say 7-year-old Jor'Dynn Duncan was tied up in a bathtub and routinely tortured. 3 generations in one family were charged in her death Wednesday in what prosecutors called wicked and evil torture.
The cutest little thing that you want to see in your life. Never saw any marks on her face.
Neighbors are horrified to learn the details of her December death after Emily Kelly called 911. An autopsy documented 90 injuries, including whip marks and internal stab wounds that caused a fatal infection. Prosecutors say the child missed 40 days of school, and in each case, Kelly provided an excuse, a family trip, or a death or illness. Prosecutors say not only did Kelly subject this child to horrific abuse and torture, but appallingly, she documented it with videos and casual text messages between her and her daughter. You can't hit her face. You got to hit her body if you're going to hit her. That's another thing we've got to hide.
Shocked about that people could act so savagely.
Suffolk County Executive Ed Romaine says the county's Child Protective Services involvement in the case was minimal.
It's not a failure of CPS, and the child's placement was done by a judge. We will act on any information that comes out that suggests to us that improvements can be made.
The child was placed by court order with Kelly, her incarcerated father's fiance. Kelly's mother and daughter were also charged. Suffolk lawmakers are calling for a full review.
How was this child placed in the hands of somebody who could be this unfit and this abusive? How could school, not see her for 40 days over the course of a year and not ask questions?
Schools are expected to contact CPS when there's repeated unexplained absences combined with warning signs.
The personnel at the school are mandated reporters.
We have no comment at the moment.
Jor'Dynn's biological relatives declined comment. Small memorials flank the front steps, which neighbors say was part of a major house renovation since the child died. All 3 women have entered not guilty pleas. In Bayport, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS News, New York.
So y'all, that's a lot for a little 7-year-old. The newest update, though, that I found is that all 3 of those women are due back in court on June 23rd. So, of course, this is not over, this case. I'm going to continue to follow it because the legal process is still moving forward. And I hope that that process includes serious questions about who was checking on Jor'Dynn and who knew about those absences and whether or not they were missed chances to intervene in something like this. And as a mama, a child who misses 40 days of school, shouldn't that raise a red flag? A child that's suddenly hard to reach, shouldn't that raise a red flag? When adults around a child start controlling who can see them and who can talk to them and where they can go, shouldn't that raise a red flag? So every concern is not always going to turn into a criminal case. Of course not, but sometimes asking more questions can save a child's life. Mandated reporting matters. There have been, I'll tell y'all this, there have been some cases come up that came across my timeline where some of these school officials, principals and teachers and whatnot are being accused of not doing those mandated reporting. So teachers, school administrators, anybody, make sure that if you see something off, make sure you report it. This is why teachers matter, school staff matters, neighbors matter, relatives. But you see in that video, the biological relatives didn't even want to say anything about it. So, yeah. So tonight we got to remember Jor'Dynn Duncan. She's not just a case, not just a headline, but as a little girl whose life mattered. So I'll continue to watch what happens in court with this, and of course, bring out updates if anything comes from this. And so when it comes to like child protection, if you're catching this on the rewatch, when it comes to child protection, do y'all think schools and courts are doing enough when a child starts missing a lot of days, or does the system wait too late to act? If you are catching this on the rewatch, like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, leave your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll talk back to you. So let's transition. So from a story about a child and the systems meant to protect her, we're going to move into another kind of system failure. This is reality check. So this one's about workplace safety, industrial risk, and the families who send their loved ones to work expecting them to come home. So this is reality check. And for reality check tonight, I'm going to Longview, Washington, where a chemical tank disaster at the Nippon Dynawave packaging facility has claimed 11 lives. This was a paper mill. There's a paper mill not too far from where I live as well, where a lot of people work. Yeah, Classic said hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button while y'all in here. So there's a paper mill not too far from where I live as well. So a place where people went to work, a place where it helps support families, a place tied to that economy of that community, right? And then in one moment, one instance, everything changed. So earlier reports said 2 people had been pronounced dead initially at hospitals while 9 workers were still missing. Authorities say those bodies of all 9 missing workers have now been recovered. And that brings the total of the confirmed death toll to 11. So that update changes the weight of the story, right? Because it's no longer a search for the missing workers. According to reporting, though, the incident involved a large chemical tank that contained what is known as white liquor, a caustic chemical mixture used in the paper making process. The tank reportedly held hundreds and thousands of gallons of that material when it was ruptured. Well, they said it imploded. The disaster released chemicals across the site, and crews had to respond to that hazardous scene. So several others were also injured. Some of the crew were also injured. And of course, there are environmental concerns because contamination reached one of the nearby Columbia River, although officials have said that there's no immediate harmful impact reported to the city's quality of drinking water. So let me pull up the video for that one. Here we go.
For 9 people who are presumed dead after a chemical tank ruptured at a paper mill in Washington state.
It's one of America's deadliest workplace accidents in years. ABC's Hannah Battah explains that it comes during growing concerns about the environmental impact of the leak.
We're now getting a closer look at the scene of that deadly chemical tank accident at this paper mill in Longview, Washington. Images from inside the damage zone show a pile of contaminated gear roped off, all of it set to be destroyed. These fire boots covered in so-called white liquor, the toxic substance used in the paper-making process. More than 550,000 gallons of it spilled out when the tank ruptured early Tuesday. 2 people have died. The 9 workers still missing are now presumed dead.
Waking up this morning to families slowly starting to post that their family members are gone, and it's difficult. It's my biggest fear, and now my friends are living this fear.
Officials say the damaged tank is still holding thousands of gallons of hazardous material, but remains stable. Some contamination has leaked into the nearby Columbia River, but the EPA says no effects on the river have been observed, although about a dozen dead fish were found in nearby ditches. Crews are now flushing and diluting water in the ditch system to help prevent further contamination. State environmental officials say local drinking water supplies have not been affected.
Yeah, so there's another video too. I think that does the update. So hang on, let me see if I can find it right quick. Oh yeah, right here.
Javier Sanchez was friends with Braden Finkus, who worked at the Nippon Dynawave packaging company.
One of the most selfless individuals you'll ever meet.
Finkus and his partner Caitlin were going to get married and had a trip to Italy coming up in 2 weeks.
We don't have closure yet. I think for us is, a struggle of what's exactly happening.
Finkus is one of the 9 who remain missing after Tuesday morning's deadly chemical tank rupture.
It was just such an unexpected situation that you just never expect to go to work and not come home, especially in the manner that, all of that happened.
As the days go by, the pain only increases for the community.
It's just heartbreaking. The families, it's just everybody knows everybody in this little community, and we all love each other, and we're just all praying for the families.
For some, prayer is what's giving them hope.
The mill is a very important part of our community, and everybody knows everybody. And I think even if you don't know anyone, I didn't know anyone personally, but we're all still really affected because it's a tight-knit community.
For many of those involved in the church, they know of fellow church members who were lost in this tragedy.
We've been able to see online again the various churches who are saying, so-and-so went to my church and this person went to my church, and the grief that comes along with that.
Angel Heron with the nonprofit Love in the Name of Christ did not lose anybody in Tuesday morning's incident, but she has family that's now a part of the cleanup effort.
A family member of mine works for CCS, Kellett's Clean Sweep, and he's there aiding in the cleanup, which is also very frightening for his wife and all his daughters.
She worries about his physical and mental well-being.
He showed up after work and he said it's pretty gruesome. It's very sad for him, very stoic, and it's very emotional for him. He's a soft-hearted guy, so, and he loves people, and it's really affecting him.
Yeah, that's a lot for that community, you know, especially if it's a smaller community. I didn't do any research on how big that community is, but if they rely on that, you know, for their livelihood, you know, a lot of mental goes into that as well. You know, these workers, they carry, of course, the risk when they walk into places that involve chemicals, pressure systems. And, you know, last week I talked about that out there in, I think it was Glenview, California, that where 50,000 residents had to be evacuated. So it's a lot of risk that these people take every day walking into these plants that have these chemical to make things that we need, the chemicals to make things that we need. So pressure systems, you know, heavy equipment, aging infrastructure, all of that, you know. But the U.S., I do have a couple more notes. The U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board, along with other agencies, are looking into what happened. So, yeah. So tonight, if anything, pray for those families in Longview, especially those that lost their lives. Pray for the injured, praying for the first responders that had to walk into that dangerous zone, of course, because you see where that chemical changed the facing on that boot. So if you are catching this on the rewatch, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit subscribe, share it with somebody who might find it interesting or who wants an update on it. So, and also answer me this, and y'all can answer me this in the chat too. When major workplace disasters happen, do y'all trust companies to be transparent about it, or do y'all think outside investigations are the only way like families can get truth behind that? So, hey, Sko, I seen you in here earlier, Sko. Welcome back. So yeah, what y'all think about that? If y'all are still in here, Classic, Super Mac, Tristan, do y'all think outside companies should do the investigation? Or should we just rather trust the companies to be transparent? While y'all are doing that, we're gonna move on to Hometown Rain. I'm gonna bring back to the communities that are surrounding me. And of course, I have two stories tonight. I got a major update for y'all too. So hang on one second. Let's do that. So I have two stories. One is a major update involving that heartbreaking case I told you about. I think it was about 2 weeks ago out in Eufaula, Alabama. And the other is a proposed curfew in Uptown Columbus that has a lot of people talking about unsupervised minors, public safety. This has been a big topic over the month of May. All these teen takeovers going on, parent accountability, and what communities should do before things get out of hand. So let's get into Hometown Rain. Oh, let me move this out of the way. Yeah, move that out of the way. So for the first story, I have an update on Markavious Rumph Jr. case, also known to loved ones as Lil Mark. When we first talked about this story, Markavious had been reported missing. This was around Mother's Day. Around Mother's Day. So Markavious had been missing for about 3 days. And the family did not get support that they felt they needed when searching for him. So the family ended up discovering him in the woods. And when the family discovered him, he was dismembered. Unfortunately, he was burned. And also he was shot, if I'm not mistaken. So his remains have been positively identified from the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences. Police say that identification has been confirmed, and according to Eufaula police, the remains recovered were him, Markavious Rump. So they have arrested somebody. Police say 19-year-old Josiah McKinney of Eufaula has been arrested in connection with Markavious' death. He's facing multiple charges, including murder, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. This is still an ongoing investigation. Those charges and allegations are, of course, allegations until proven in court. But this update is significant because the family has been waiting for answers for such a devastating discovery. His dad actually found him. So I'm gonna pull up that quick video. I got a quick video for it. I think I do. There it is. Yeah. It just announces it.
A new development in a story we've been following here in WRBL News 3. A 19-year-old Eufaula man is facing multiple charges after investigators identified remains found earlier this month as a missing Eufaula resident. Eufaula police say the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences has positively identified the remains recovered back on May 11th as Markavious Rumph Jr. According to police, 19-year-old Josiah Isaiah McKinney of Eufaula was arrested in connection with the case. He is charged with murder, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. This is an ongoing investigation.
Yeah, so prayers out to his family. Hopefully they get closure on this. I don't think that one guy acted alone. That's to say yes, outside. Yeah, so they think outside people should Tristan said he don't trust nobody. He don't trust none of the companies. He said everything should be investigated. Thank you, Tristan. So yeah, hopefully the family gets closure from this soon. I would like to know what happened. You know, people. Obviously, he trusted whoever it was he left with that night, and unfortunately he never came home. So keep this family lifted. We're watching this case closely as it moves forward into the justice system. So when things like this happen in small communities, do y'all think that people are more likely to speak up, or are they more likely to stay quiet because they're afraid? Yeah, Tristan, let's talk about it for a minute before I move on to the next thing. The family, because that town is so small, the family felt they did not get the support that they needed from local law enforcement. I brought it up last time. Let me see what the population is. Yeah, the population of Eufaula is a little bit over 12,000 residents. So the law enforcement community was real small with law enforcement support, but they could have pulled from outside agencies to get help. That's what I don't like. The family did go looking for him because obviously they felt like they wasn't getting the support that they needed, and unfortunately his father found him. So it was Mother's Day weekend. They were out in the rain looking for him everywhere. Tristan said, I think that if gangs are heavily active, it's not uncommon that people stay silent. Yeah. I think a lot of people have the attitude of, I didn't see anything, so I'm not going to say anything, or I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to put myself in other people's business. But unfortunately, you know, things like this happen. I think the families deserve closure. Somebody snitches. I mean, somebody needs to say something, you know. It's sad though. Superman said, trusting companies is a no. Outside investigation, please. Absolutely. Absolutely, Superman. Okay, classic. He was found, so supposedly on a Friday or Thursday or Friday, he left with somebody in their vehicle. Nobody had heard from him for 2 or 3 days, and the family went looking for him. With this being such a small town and such a rural area, they searched woods. They searched everywhere high and low. And he was found in the woods along a dirt road, and he was dismembered. He was burned, and he was shot. So and his dad was the one that found him. They didn't get the support that they needed from the local law enforcement to do a full search. So they're young and they use social media, so it shouldn't be that hard to get circumstantial evidence. Yeah, I agree. Everything's out there. It's already out there. They have to go look for it. Superman said, if this kid was black, this is an old story. No, it just happened recently. What you mean by this is an old story? Tristan said, Classic said, sounds like 12. You think they had something to do with it? You think so, Classic? Let's play. We're gonna play the initial story again. Let me find the initial story. I just find it so odd that nobody helped them. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Here it is. Let me play. I'm gonna play this initial story. Classy. He said, "Shh." Let me I'm gonna share this tab. So here's the initial story for y'all who missed it 2 weeks ago when I had it.
An heartbreaking story tonight out of Barber County. The family of a missing 18-year-old says after searching for him for days, they made a horrifying discovery in the woods.
WDHN's Elizabeth White has more for us tonight, and we do want to warn you the details in this story are disturbing.
But they got to pay all I'm going to pay. Everybody that's involved, I want them to pay for my son. Everybody that's involved, go pay for my son. Everybody that's involved, go pay for my son. Everybody.
A mother's grief is tangible, the pain unthinkable. For 5 days, Markavious Rumph's family searched for the missing 18-year-old after they say he was last seen Thursday, May 7th, getting into a car with an acquaintance. Then came disturbing information from the community. Fearing he had been badly hurt, the family launched their own search over Mother's Day weekend.
I looked for 5 days for my son with no help from the Eufaula Police Department. No help. Me and my family in the rain on Mother's Day. I walked around through woods.
Then Monday, in a muddy wooded area off of White Oak Church Road, their search ended in horror.
They basically burnt my baby, shot my baby, burnt them up and chopped them up.
And you were the one that found.
Yes.
How does a father deal with that?
I'm dealing with it best I can right now.
Tuesday, investigators were back in the woods searching for evidence as the hunt for a killer or killers continues. The family does believe someone known to Markavious is responsible, but police so far have not named a suspect. Markavious had just earned his GED and planned to become a welder, a young life cut tragically short.
This investigation is still active as authorities search for answers. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Eufaula Police Department, and we'll continue to bring you any and all updates, both on air and online here at WDA.
Yeah, so that was the original story that broke when I reported it last. So unfortunately, they did not have the help that they needed. And Superman said mean that it's been happening historically. I get it. Classic said, if the people who are paid to help don't help, then why not? Classic said, vengeance, queen, go get it, allegedly. Classic said, sounds real 12-ish. Superman said, oh yeah, unfortunately, this probably is a predominantly white town. I'm taking a historical guess. What do you think? I don't know. Let's look. You know, I'm good for finding out information. It's half and half. Superman is 45% white, 44% Black or African American, and 7% Hispanic or Latino. Yeah. And that's from the Census Bureau. Yeah, so it's close. Tristan said, I cringe whenever they say contact the police department after y'all didn't help them at all. I know it's tough. It's tough. I'm gonna keep an eye on that though, and I'm gonna see if they end up arresting anybody else, because I don't think that 19-year-old acted alone in this. That's crazy. That's crazy. It is. It's crazy. Now, where did my stuff go, y'all? I lost my stuff. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. So moving on, though, to closer here at the house, they are talking about doing a what you call it? Curfew. I'm sorry, y'all. A curfew for unsupervised minors in Uptown Columbus. The curfew has not been, it hasn't been passed yet, but it's still being discussed. City leaders are seriously looking at it. The council has already approved adding more officers to help cover the late night crowds. And this comes after police and business leaders raised concern about groups of young people gathering in Uptown Columbus during the evening hours. There's been concern about fights, trespassing, disruptive behavior, weapons, and businesses feeling like they have to close early or deal with situations that are getting out of control. According to local reporting, Columbus leaders are looking at this after more than 300 arrests happened in recent years, like the last 2 years, connected to evening incidents involving unsupervised minors. Police have also said that they are seeing children as young as 9 years old being dropped off in Uptown without adult supervision. So the proposed curfew would apply to minors under 18 in the Uptown district from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. unless they are with an adult or heading to work, school, or another approved activity. The proposal will run through late September if it's passed, and the city leaders are expected to revisit the ordinance. People are going to be split about this. Some of them are going to say, yes, put the curfew in place. Kids don't need to be roaming uptown late at night unsupervised. And other people are going to say, well, the curfew doesn't solve the root problem. It just moves the kids somewhere else. Both points, of course, are worth talking about. Public safety matters. Business owners should not have to close early, because these crowds are out of control. Families should be able to enjoy Uptown without worrying about fights or weapons. And police should not have to respond to the same chaos every weekend. But with that being said, where are these kids supposed to go? What programs are in Columbus for them? Where are the parents? Where are the mentors? Where are the safe spaces? And are we only responding after the behavior becomes a police issue? So, and of course, being mama, I think when the streetlights come on, you need to be at home anyways. That's how a lot of us were raised. When those streetlights come on, you need to be in the house. And of course, children need boundaries. Parents need to know where their children are. I think minors should not be dropped off in an entertainment district. And that's what Uptown is. Uptown Columbus is our downtown. There's bars, nightclubs, eateries, all down and through there. I also know that, if we create curfews but never create community, what's really going to solve the problem? A curfew could help the crowds. It won't help broken homes. It won't give teenagers purpose. It won't replace mentorship. It won't fix what's missing after school or at home or in the community. So I'm going to pull that up right quick, and we're going to listen in on what the Columbus City Council is going to say. And actually, I do want to do I've been keeping tabs on these teen takeovers, and I think I'm going to end up doing a show about it soon. Once I get things back organized on my end. So I've been compiling up some videos and some information on teen takeovers and whatnot. And once I do that, then I'll come live with it, or I might do a pre-recorded episode on these teen takeovers. So let's listen in and let's watch about the Columbus City Council and what they plan on trying to do. I know one of the city council members, Toya Tucker, she's real involved in her district, her area. So Let's listen in, y'all.
For unsupervised minors in Uptown Columbus sparked a lengthy discussion at tonight's City Council meeting. The ordinance would apply to anyone under 18 in the Uptown District between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Supporters say it's needed to proactively address a nationwide trend of teen takeovers before Columbus is impacted. Columbus City Council is considering a new curfew targeting unsupervised minors in Uptown. The proposed ordinance requested by Uptown Columbus would apply from 8th Street to 14th Street between 2nd Avenue and Bay Avenue. Uptown Columbus CEO Steve Morse says large groups of unsupervised teens have created major safety issues on weekends.
Uptown is very vibrant. We're very compact. We're very compressed down there. And when you put 200, 300, 400 kids unsupervised in Uptown, we've got an issue.
Morse showed council video and data from Columbus police, including 434 cases and 331 arrests in the Uptown District between June 2025 and April 2026. Police say the curfew
So that's not even a whole year. Over 300 arrests and not even a whole year when it came to
be a tool to intervene before situations escalate.
I think there's a misconception that one of the things the ordinance does, it allows us to deal with parents, to hold parents accountable.
But some council members and speakers question whether the city is addressing the root of the problem.
What are we doing to try to find a remedy to have somewhere for them to go and somewhere for them to hang out?
The crux of the matter is that these youth don't have anything to do. And if we have the money, that's what you got to spend it on.
By the end of the discussion, council voted to create a committee to address the larger issues at hand. This was the first reading of this ordinance. It will return for a second reading and vote in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so that's what, at least they've taken, they're moving forward with doing something about it. They're trying to fix the situation, but of course, if these kids have nothing to do, they have nothing to do. If Columbus is gonna move forward with a new curfew or a curfew, it needs to be paired with something constructive, right? More youth programming, more parent accountability, more mentorship, more safe evening activities, more community partnerships. Yeah, let me y'all got the chat going. Tristan said yes, let us know. Thank you, Tristan. I'll let y'all know. Supermax said dominance is also measured in who wields power demographically. Tristan said these wild hogs and hyenas back at it again. Tristan said exactly, Rain. That's the beauty in the adjacent side. Tristan said we could black absent fathers all we want, or did you mean blame absent fathers all we want, but what about the parent that's there? Absolutely. It's the environment in the home. Being a single mother myself, my child, even though he's 10, very respectful, or very, gives adults, knows how to act out in the public, gives adults respect. He don't have it in him to be out in the streets. And I'm a single parent, so you can't necessarily blame it on a one-parent household or a household with an absent father. You can't blame it on that. It's all in how the kids are being raised and governed by their parents. I said that. Supermax said 9 p.m., not 18, no parental supervision. Yes, go home. Yes. Anything below 18 after 9 p.m., go, take your tail home. There is nothing in these streets but trouble. Rain might talk about her young days one day. Maybe one time later on. For a different show, I'll talk about my young experiences being in a single parent home. One day. Y'all will be surprised. Claxton said, I'm hearing business opportunities. Absolutely. And government funded. The government can support it. So why not? If they find things for these teens to do, I don't think we have one skating rink in Columbus. And it's up on the north side of Columbus, away from where most of these children could benefit from being there. Columbus is so divided. You got the south side, north side, east side, and you got uptown, downtown. And anything above a certain exit is different than below a certain exit. So in doing that, things above that certain exit, it seems like they have, that area of the city has more opportunities for the younger people versus everything on the south side. There's no skating rinks. There's no, there are recreation centers, but I wouldn't supposedly say that they're safe, because there's been shootings happen here and there at these different recreation centers. So, I mean, it's out there, but they still have to be guided. These youth have to be guided to do what they need to do. So at the end of the day, they still have to be they still need parental guidance. Christian said, why can't they just get jobs? Why can't they get jobs? They already trying to be outside, so why not go to a job and make some money? That too. Does anybody know the legal age of working now? I know it's changed a lot in the years. Is it 16 still? Soul said, why can't they just act correctly? That too, so that too. Young Rain stories for a future cast. Yeah, I have to get into it. Trishan said that too, souls bring back Scared Straight. And where did that go? Where did that go? We used to see it all the time on TV. They had a whole program behind it. Where did that go? And you know what? I would hazard to guess, Tess, that maybe some of the reasons why these kids act the way they do, young adults act the way they do, is because of survival mode. But still, it's a way to conduct yourself regardless if you're in survival mode or not. Supermax said, no matter the event, minors will require supervision, ideally parents. True enough. Back in the day, though, Supermax, there was this rec center called Hey Good Gym. Okay. When I was 13, 12, 13, 14 years old, I don't know the timeline. I can't remember like if it was every weekend, every other weekend, once a month. They would have these dances. Parents would pull up, drop the kids off. They would have these dances, socialize, have a good time. I think it was like $5 to maybe get in. They had snacks and drinks and everything. You have a DJ playing music. Kids would be in there socializing and everything. So why can't we still continue to do that? Where did that go? That's a question to ask. When I was young, it was there. Where did it go? Why are we not doing it anymore? Classic said, Rain, y'all got any vacant small to medium-sized warehouse spaces out there? I would think so. Absolutely. I would think so. Roadway accessible, preferably non-industrial, preferably. Non-industrial. Warehouse space. Non-industrial warehouse space out there. Yeah. If the longer I think about it, then yeah, there are spaces out here with that. And if not, it's easy to build. There's plenty of prime locations out here for that. There's plenty of land mass available for that. So that's it, asking for a friend. So say, I see you, classic. Supermax says, Scared Straight met a real one. Supermax said, are you leaving yours at the function? That's what back in the day, and I know that 30 years ago, it's a different world now. But I used to get dropped off at the movie theater, go watch 2 or 3 movies, come back and pick me up about 4 or 5 hours later. I mean, and I would be with a bunch of friends and go to those dances and everything. So I said we would talk offline. I got some rich family in Alabama. All right, now. Let's do it. Let's do it. In Too Deep, dropping the umbrellas. Hey, In Too Deep. I appreciate you being in here. Supermax said, classic ready with the capitalism and guidance. Soul said, we are the only group of people who blame what our community doesn't have to why we can't act right. Souls. Yeah. In Too Deep said, welcome in, newbies. As you come in, please click the like button and subscribe. It's a free way to support the channel. And y'all, my Cash App is rolling at the top too. If y'all want to support monetarily until I get monetized. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I'm almost halfway through to the 500. Y'all keep coming in and supporting and getting those subscribers up for me. Yeah, getting these watch hours coming. Everything's coming together, y'all. I'm excited. Supermax said 2026. Yeah, it is. It's 2026. And International Skull said facts, Souls. You right, Souls, though. Why are we the only group of people who blame what our community doesn't have as to why we can't act right? Yeah, definitely. It's tough. We rely, that demographic of people though rely a lot on community and rely a lot on the government in order to find things for these children to do, these young adults to do. I'm gonna say young adults because and Into Deep did put my Cash App in there. Soft Rain RSC. If y'all are inclined to donate, keep the good content coming. Into Deep said, watch on TikTok too. I didn't go live on TikTok. Into Deep, I didn't go live, not today, but I will continue to go live, especially with no middleman and whatnot. Let me see what else I got for y'all. I think I got one more story. Is my soul reset? No, I got 2 more stories, y'all. I'm still in here. Which comment, Souls? Because I've marked all comments. Put it in again. I see that one. We are the only group of people who blame what our community doesn't have to why we can't act right. And then Soul said, I see you, classic. Yeah, is YouTube acting funny again and not dropping all the comments? Let me know, Souls, before I move on. YouTube might be acting funny. There, you know what though? There was on somebody's live. I don't know if it was yours, Souls. I don't know whose live it was on, but I didn't see it and it might have been our show, Souls. I didn't see it in the comments on YouTube, but I saw it on the StreamYard or something. So put your comment in again. So is it holding back comments? Do y'all see any other wrenches? See anything? Superman said the rest of the community is blameless for all other problems. For all other problems. Yeah. Put it back. Is it not coming? Did you try it again, Souls? Is it not coming over? I don't have it even pulled up on my phone. We're gonna see. I'm gonna take my time with y'all tonight. Hold on. Okay, so we're gonna keep the show rolling. We'll talk about it on No Middleman. So y'all tune in tomorrow night to No Middleman. We'll talk about it there. Yeah, so I don't even see it on here though. Yeah, I don't. YouTube be hiding comments. They be hiding comments. So moving forward, so now from community safety to here Oh, no. Yeah. Community safety here at home. Here at home. 2, I'm going to do a global wellness watch because I'm going to talk about Ebola again. It's back in the headlines, and you know that anytime people hear that word, it's fear spread fast. So let me pull that segment up for y'all, our wellness watch. So tonight on Wellness Watch, we are talking about the Ebola outbreak affecting parts of Africa, especially the Democratic Republic of Congo, with related concerns in the region. Of course, when people hear Ebola, they immediately think the worst. And I understand why. It's serious, it's deadly. People can spread it through direct contact with bodily fluids from someone who is sick or has died from it. It's not spread the same way a cold is spread. It's not like casually walking past somebody in the grocery store and catching it. So yeah, it's serious, but it's not the reason for people to panic. The major concern right now, though, is containment. In outbreak areas, especially places dealing with conflict, displacement, limited medical access, and mistrust, it can be hard to identify cases, isolate those patients, and trace contacts and protect healthcare workers. So that's what makes this like dangerous. It's not just the virus, it's just the environment. It's the environment around the virus. War, displacement, fear, lack of resources, limited access to treatment, all that. So here are some important updates that I wanted to give y'all. The World Health Organization has reported suspected and confirmed cases in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there have also been cases in Uganda. Those numbers have been changing as more people are tested and more suspected cases are investigated. Yeah, reading through my notes. So the U.S., though, the response has been controversial. So the White House first announced a plan to establish a facility in Kenya for Americans who may have been exposed to Ebola while in the region. The idea was to provide a quarantine or care closer to the outbreak instead of bringing them to the United States. But the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, also stated that patients would not be allowed into the U.S. And that created a lot of conversation. Some people support it because they see it protecting the American public. Others are concerned it could discourage doctors, missionaries, and aid workers and volunteers from helping in the outbreak zone. So thinking that they might not be able to come home for treatment. And a new development that came about is Kenya's High Court, though, has temporarily suspended the U.S. plan for that Ebola quarantine facility while legal challenges are heard. So that pause came from medical workers, activists, and citizens who question why Kenya will host a facility for Americans exposed, especially when Kenya itself has no known cases. So this story is more than just a health story. It's public, it's foreign policy, human rights, trust, all that. So I don't think we should panic, but we should pay attention. Of course, the biggest concern right now is supporting containment in those affected regions. We also need to be careful about how we talk about outbreak too. Too often conversations around disease in Africa quickly become fear-based and stigmatizing or full of misinformation. And I think, do I have? Yeah. Here's the video that I have in reference to them pausing the quarantine in Kenya. So let me pull that up. There she go. There she go. We're gonna play this.
Administration is facing a setback with a quarantine facility it's set up to help Americans exposed to Ebola. As Garrett Tenney reports, it comes as cases continue to climb in Central Africa.
Enhanced border screenings across Central Africa as an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo intensifies.
There are multiple strains of Ebola, and this strain is the one that's a little bit more rare.
Now, a court in Kenya has temporarily suspended the Trump administration's plans to open a quarantine facility in that country for Americans exposed to the virus. The 50-bed center was scheduled to open on Friday, but faced legal challenges over cross-border infection risk.
There had been no transparency around impact assessments, around contingency measures, around the procedure by which this was approved.
It comes one day after Kenya's government provided written approval for the site as part of a coordinated public health response with the U.S. that Secretary of State Marco Rubio says includes more than $13 million for the East African country's Ebola preparedness efforts.
The State Department and other agencies represented here, the Centers for Disease Control, HHS, others are working very, very hard to contain this crisis to the countries where it's currently located.
So far, Kenya has not recorded any Ebola cases, but in Congo, the World Health Organization says the outbreak is growing faster than the response efforts can handle.
There are many challenges, especially in containing this outbreak. It's a very complex outbreak.
Yeah. So, put me back up there. Yeah, so this is they halted that. And I don't know why the US would want to put a facility in Kenya that does not have any reported cases. Why would you, and why would Kenya even agree to that, you know? Stuff. Uncle Plug said Ebola. Oh my God, why? Why is this government always trying to unalive us? Dang it. Super Mac, another great show reposted. Thank you, Super Mac. I appreciate your support as always. Into Deep said the wealthiest country in the world regarding untapped natural resources with its mineral reserves valued at an estimated 24 trillion. Uncle Plug TV. What is that? Kenya? Into Deep? Is that Kenya? Super Mac said this is a fear story. Fear is among the greatest motivators known to man. Superman said, King is saying we scared, son. Yeah, I don't think that we should be, my personal opinion is I don't think that we should be building a facility in Kenya. Oh, the Congo. Oh, okay. I don't think that we should be building a facility in Kenya where there's no known cases. For what? Why would we bring a facility there or bring people in there and there's no known cases? You know. And of course, you know, the average person has to stay informed through credible health sources. Don't share fear-based posts without checking them. Understand how it spreads and remember that public health works best when people trust the information that they are getting. If you are catching this on the rewatch, and to my people in the chat that's still with me, do y'all think the U.S. should bring infected American health care workers back home for treatment, or should they be treated closer to the outbreak region to reduce that travel risk? So this is a tough one, though. I want to know where y'all stand. If you're catching this on the rewatch, again, make sure y'all like, subscribe, leave a comment. I talk back for the most part. Skull said that's a way for the government to do a mass depopulation. Same thing that happened with the vid too, Skull. Entity said they want military base in the area. Do you think that was a door opening for that? Is there, what's the closest to that area? Do you know, Into Deep, what's the closest military? Can you do some research? And tell me what the closest military base is to Kenya and the Republic of Congo. Do we have any military interests over that way? Texas said, people die every day, B. I heard him say that out loud. Super Max said the chat is hip to the fear taxes. Yes, they are. Skull said, yeah, exactly the same thing, just like with this Hansa virus too. Yeah. I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think the Hansa virus got off the map the way they expected it to. I don't think it got to rolling the way they expected it to. So, but yeah, it could be fear mongering. Could be a lot. So after all that heaviness that we've just experienced through everything that we talked about, the Blue Origin, the young girl that was unalived up in New York. Scholes said, oh, there we go. Introduced that the United States operates out of 2 primary non-permanent military facilities in Kenya while maintaining no sovereign military bases inside the DRC. So yeah, okay. So it's non-permanent though. Do you think they're trying to do a permanent fixture over there? My military people? Supermax says, set up the quarantine close to the epicenter. Why buy Ebola a ticket to the U.S.? Yeah, I feel the same way. Set it up there. Don't bring it here. For what? What you doing that for? Why would you? You're making it easier to spread to other people with the transport and everything. Even if y'all do suit up and all that good stuff, there's still a chance, you know. So with everything I talked about earlier, with the case down in Eufaula, the young girl, the Blue Origin, everything I've talked about been heavy and tough, right? So every weekly rain report cannot end in fear, grief, and chaos. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that there are still people doing good work. And that is my introduction to my soul reset. There are still people building communities, still people making sure the children, they feel loved and included. And after talking about illnesses, safety, and families carrying heavy burdens, this story reminds us that sometimes healing is not only about what happens in the hospital. Sometimes healing happens when a child is surrounded by people who make them feel like they belong. This is Soul Reset. So tonight's Soul Reset is about an organization called Team Impact. Now, I had no idea that this organization even existed. And I'm glad it does. It's a national non-profit that was started back in 2011. So they just did their 15-year anniversary. And their mission is to connect children who are facing serious illnesses or disability with college athletic teams across the country. And not just a one-day visit type thing, not just a photo op. This is not just a child coming to a game, getting a picture, and then everybody moves on. Team Impact creates a long-term relationship between the child, the family, the coaches, and the student athletes. The child becomes an official member of the team. They may attend practices, go to games, go to team events, even get a jersey signed by the team. And most importantly, they get a group of people standing beside them while they're going through something incredibly difficult. So the impact of this organization is big. Since it started, they have matched more than 4,500 children and families with college teams. They have also worked with more than 850 colleges and universities across 50 states. And more than 112,000 student athletes have been a part of this mission. So when we talk about this organization, we're not talking about something small. We're talking about a movement that's helping children feel seen, supported, and included in a time when life may feel scary, lonely, or unfair. So let me pull up the video to go with that. There was not like a news special for this. I actually came across the organization just doing some research on some feel-good stories, and they do have a 15-year video on their YouTube channel. So I'm gonna go ahead and play that where they celebrated their 15-year anniversary to give y'all some insight on what they do. Let's play it.
Like seeing Team Impact grow over the last 15 years, it's been phenomenal. I mean, who would have thought?
Seeing the growth of Team Impact over the last 15 years has really been gratifying to all of us, our founding board and our board. Yeah, I remember the early days prior to us forming Team Impact.
We all got together 15 years ago, and we just figured it out as we went and learned a lot. When we first started, we thought if we could draft 10 or 15 kids onto teams, how great would that be?
He told me about the mission of a foundation that he thought he and his friends could start. He told me the mission, and I said, that's amazing. What else do you need?
I believe in our plan. I certainly believe in the team of founders we have. Sitting around at dinners talking about what the vision of this organization and what Team Impact could be. I think we all knew the impact we could have, but I don't think in our wildest dreams we would have imagined that we'd be in all 50 states as quickly and that we would have enjoyed the growth we've enjoyed and truly changed the lives of so many.
It's amazing where we are today, and I couldn't be more thankful. We learned pretty quickly this was as impactful to the student athletes as it was to the children and their families. And once we saw that, we realized we had something very, very unique and something very different. So by the time I'd say we had about 200 kids drafted into the program, we started looking around saying, hey, this could be national.
The beauty of the program, everybody's a winner.
But I think more importantly, to see how many people have connected to Team Impact. There's so many ways to participate, get involved, and be engaged in Team Impact, and that's the part that after 15 years is mind-blowing to me.
15 years. It's everything that we embody as a foundation inside the boardroom and outside with our athletes and our team members.
Today we're at 4,500 and growing all across the country. It's incredible to see what's happened in 15 years.
You know, the numbers speak for themselves about the growth of Team Impact, but we're not satisfied. We want every kid who's eligible for this program to be matched with a team.
Today, I think that's pretty doable.
Yeah, so that's my soul reset, y'all. I'm laughing at Souls because I read his comment. Yeah. So when a child is dealing with, serious illness or disability, the world can become, very small. You got doctor's appointments, hospital rooms, treatments, therapies, restrictions, being told what they cannot do, being separated from everyday childhood moments that other kids take for granted. Sometimes, even when people love them, that child can still feel different. They can feel left out. They can feel like everybody else is moving forward while they're stuck fighting battles, they never asked for. So that's what makes this story so powerful, because Team Impact says to these children, you are not on the sidelines. You are part of the team. You matter. You're here. Your presence matters. Your fight matters. Your joy matters. So that's ministry in motion, I feel. Belonging can do something medicine cannot always do. Belonging can remind a child that they are more than just a diagnosis, more than just a hospital wristband, more than just a treatment plan. They're still worthy of fun, still worthy of friendship, still worthy of being cheered for. And so this story also, helps with the college athletes as well. Sometimes we think athletes are only there to perform, win the game, make the shot. But when those athletes become a child, or they welcome a child into their team, they are learning something bigger than sports. So they're learning compassion, perspective. They're learning that leadership is not just what you do when the crowd is watching. So, yeah, out of all those stories we covered tonight, this one lands a little bit differently. We talked about young people needing structure. We talked about families needing answered. We talked about communities trying to figure out how to keep kids safe. We talked about illness and families carrying heavy burdens. So, yeah. Let me get to some of these comments before I get up off of here. Let me put me back up on the screen. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. The ones that been here, all y'all. The ones that came in, came out. Ones that been here the whole time. I'm going to change my, you know what? And I didn't do my part on my segment. If y'all are catching Soul Reset on the rewatch, make sure y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all leave me a comment down in the comment section. I talk back, y'all. I talk back. Let me see. Hold on. So I'm going to get to some of these comments. Well, actually, I'm going to get to Soul's comment since it's pertaining to Soul Reset before I get up off here. He said, not one black kid in the ass. See what they do for their kids. We want to build community centers they create. And then he retracted. He said, oh, my bad. Oh, my bad towards the end. So everybody was included. So on that one. So yeah, that was my soul reset, y'all. I'm gonna run it back. I'm gonna put my banner back up here for just my regular weekly rain. I'm gonna run some of these comments that y'all talked about. Super Max said, this is for the previous segment. He said, all alleged for content creation purposes. Absolutely. Always all alleged for content creation purposes. Into Deep said, the active discussions and developments between Washington and Nairobi focus on massive expansion of existing joint facilities and deepening Kenya's status as a major non-NATO ally. They're cooking up something. International Scope said they're going to bring it here. They're figuring out ways now to get it here without harming the people on the plane. You think so, Scope? It might already be here. Because then they had some facility. Y'all gonna make me do some research. They had some facilities in the U.S. I think they were bringing people back. I think Atlanta was one of the airports. I don't know the other two airports though, Scope. They were bringing people back and they were monitoring people and through those airports. Let's look. I got a few minutes. Let's look. Ebola airports. So, JFK, Atlanta, Washington Dulles, George Bush in Houston, and JFK in New York. Yep. Those are centralized checkpoints. They're part of a proactive public health directive by the CDC and U.S. Customs and Border Protection for passengers who have been in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda within 21 days of arrival. So yeah, that's where, yeah. Travelers on at those designated, there's 4 of them, those designated airports, travelers are escorted to a temporary clinic or designated screening area. CDC staff administer a brief questionnaire regarding their travel history. Public officials take your temperature with a non-contact thermometer, and you will be observed for signs of illness and ask for contact information. Well, so travelers who have recently been to the DRC, South Sudan, or Uganda. Yeah, so those people, they have to go through all those checks. Supermax said the chat precise with it, and as always. And Too Deep said the U.S. military funding paired with recent deals like the suspended Ebola facility at, I'm not going to say, their air base right there, threatens Kenyan national sovereignty and makes the country a direct target for regional extremist groups. Supermax said, yep, CDC ATL is already out there. It's already out there. International Code said it takes 18 days for symptoms to show up or happen. That's the part. That's the part. You could easily be infected and not know it. That's the part, y'all. Yeah. So that's all I have for y'all tonight. That's all I have for y'all tonight. Unless y'all got something else y'all want to talk about real quick before I get off. I will. Oh, let me go over this. So Monday, you got no middleman. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we doing Tuesday too? Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? Are we doing a rewind on Wednesday? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no middleman. We usually come on about 9:45 Eastern, 8:45 Central. You can catch me, Uncle Plug TV, and Souls of Thought on that panel. And then of course, hey, I am part of the Raw Society Coalition. Wait, let me get everybody up. Do I have this? I don't think I have it on this one. I keep forgetting to put it on here, y'all. Anyway, y'all listen up, okay? So I'm part of the Raw Society Coalition. It consists of the founder, Souls of Thought, You seen him in the chat. There's his name right there. Make sure y'all go over to his page and subscribe. You saw, oh, Tez is not in here though. The Classic Codes, you saw him in the chat. Where you at, Classic? The Classic Codes. Classic has 4 channels. Make sure y'all go over. If y'all go over to his main channel, the Classic Codes, he has all his channels listed up there. Make sure y'all go subscribe to all of him. Uncle Plug TV. Make sure y'all go over to his channel. He is working on his watch hours so he can get up and get monetized. And is that everybody? Yeah, Souls, Classic Codes. The Tez Down is not in here. Y'all go over to his channel too. The Tez Down is not in here. Welcome Down Tez, Sophisticated Crash Out Tez is not here. But y'all go over to his channel and subscribe to his channel as well. So yeah, and us 5 people, we bring y'all content every day of the week. Every day of the week. There's Classic Codes. In Too Deep is putting all the links in the chat. So if this is your first time here, if y'all are sticking around, make sure y'all go to each one of these pages and hit that subscribe button. We bring y'all great content 7 days a week. We're live. I'm going to say at least 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Like I said earlier, no middleman, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every other Wednesday, with me, Souls of Thought, Uncle Plug. And then on that other Wednesday, you have 40 for 40. That's a show with Souls, Scotty, and Uncle Plug that have great information, great financial information, great topics all together. So y'all make sure y'all catch that on Wednesday, every other Wednesday night. So this Wednesday night though, we're gonna do a No Middleman Rewind, because No Middleman is almost 1 year old. Will be one on July the 1st. We got 30 more days, y'all. 30 more days, and No Middleman will be 1 year old. So make sure y'all tune in on that day too. We got some special stuff coming up for y'all on that day. It's a Wednesday, so it'll be good to review our content and bring y'all some new stuff as well. So make sure y'all tune in on July the 1st. Mark that on your calendar. There's Uncle Plug TV's link right there. Souls of Thought, there's his link right there. And the Tez Down, there's his link there. And Tim said, ma'am, you are so beautiful. I appreciate you, Tim's. Thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're here. Make sure you hit the like button as well. Classic Codes, he goes on in the afternoons. He's your afternoon show. Afternoon, early evening on the East Coast. Central Time is early afternoon or mid-afternoon, I would say. Tez, he does a headline show. He brings you sort of what I got going on tonight. He does headlines that's happening in the U.S. for the most part on middays. And then he also has a night show. It's called Nightcap, right, y'all? Nightcap. Y'all can catch him after midnight Central Time with his Nightcap when he does that. The Human Experience is a great show. Classic and Tez has together. They go over some interesting topics, some interesting scenarios and whatnot that's been happening in here and there. And on Sundays, our Raw Society gets it in. You have Uncle Plug giving his story time. Then you have Sunday Service. There was a great episode today, Classic and Souls. Great episode today. Make sure y'all go check that out. Sunday Service. Souls has Bible study on Sundays as well. Are you doing one tonight, Souls? And then him and Souls and Uncle Plug have a great sports show on Sundays, 1181 Pressure Plays. Greatest sports show on earth. Yeah. So what else we be having? On Monday nights, Plugged Into the Dough with Uncle Plug and Doe, Sean Doe. Yeah, we give y'all great content all week long. And we appreciate y'all being here supporting us. And that is my glamour fun and Be Breezy Fun. My Cash App, Soft Rain RSC, if you feel so inclined to donate to keep this great content coming to you. And Tim's Cash App, let me know that you care. Supermac said, RSC, I'm out. Thank you, Supermac, for your support. Really appreciate you being here. And yeah, Plug and Souls from RSC 1181 on Sundays at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I think I went over everybody. I always give y'all about 10 minutes of supporting everybody before I get up out of here. So yeah. Y'all got anything else for me before I get gone? Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Sko. Thank you, Classic. Thank you, Souls. Thank you, everybody. Super Mac was up in here. Everybody that was up in here. Thank y'all. Thank all y'all. We appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. Yeah, it's been a good one. Definitely. And I am in the process. I know y'all like my call-in show. I'm in the process of revamping that. I'm going to be more structured around the call-in show. I love doing it. Yep, the human experience too. Yeah, with Tez and Classic. I don't think y'all don't have a set date for that. Y'all just come on whenever y'all got a show put together. I haven't noticed a pattern. So y'all let me know if y'all have specific times for the human experience. What was I saying before that, y'all? It's been a long day. But yeah, if y'all ain't got nothing else for me, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Let's see. So tonight, of course, I gotta go over everything we talked about first before I get up out of here. Give y'all a little recap. We talked about the Blue Origin, New Glenn explosion, and the latest reporting is that the setback could be months of delays for the Blue Origin, Amazon satellite launches, future space missions, of course. We looked at the heartbreaking story of Jor'Dynn Duncan and the hard questions that it raises about child protection. We talked about the Longview chemical tank disaster. Authorities have confirmed the death toll is up to 11 now. And we came back home with that Eufaula update in the case of Markavious Rump. His remains were positively identified and an arrest has been made. And we talked about Uptown Columbus, that proposed curfew with these teen takeovers and the youth that's going on. So parenting, prevention, and public safety all together. We broke down Ebola and the response to that, including the latest update that the Kenya's High Court has temporarily paused on that. They paused the U.S. building a quarantine facility there. And I ended with Team Impact because after a show filled with those horror stories, we needed a reminder that children are not just problems to solve cases or to discuss. They are human beings who need protection, guidance, and opportunity and belonging. And sometimes the biggest blessing we can give somebody is simply letting them know you are not alone. You are part of us. If y'all are catching this on the rewatch, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these different stories. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm here every Sunday. I was late today. Usually around 7 o'clock Eastern. Which story stood out to you the most tonight? Which one do you think we need to follow up on? And where you stand on the Uptown curfew? So drop it in the comments. Y'all know I read them. And before you go, of course, I've said it again, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with somebody who likes real conversation about the headlines. And if you want to support my channel, my Cash App is in the description, along with the scrolling at the top of the screen. It is Soft Rain RSC. No pressure. Just support the platform and keep the conversation going. Thank you for watching. Thank you for trusting me with your Sunday evening. Oh, wait a minute. Sko said something about Chicago. Hold on. He said they already have the curfew in Chicago. If kids are caught outside after 9 p.m., parents will get fined $5,000 on 1 year. And ooh, Sko. So what if the parent goes to jail, Sko? What is that solving? That's not solving anything if the parent goes to jail. That's a bigger topic to discuss. I'll bring the teen takeovers up. I have to do that now because it's been a big topic of discussion. So I'll bring it up. So I got some stuff going on, but as soon as I get set up, definitely will bring it up. Definitely. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for trusting me with your Sunday evening. And until next time, adjust y'all's crowns, my kings and queens. Rest your heart. You are loved. You are here. You are held. And your reign is safe with me. Good night, y'all.
It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure of up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.